Johnny has joined us, which is great. Johnny Nelson, the former world cruiserweight champion. You'll see him on your TV screens as well. We were working together over Christmas as well, and Johnny was absolutely disgusted to find out that when we were sitting in Manchester, weren't we? And you found out that AJ had stopped following you on social media, and you went absolutely crackers, didn't you?
Whoa!
I was heartbroken. I took it really personal as well. I thought, what is that about? But then I realised he stopped following everybody, so we're still cool in the game.
He's still following me.
I can't lie, he's still following me.
Still following me.
Still following me as well.
You know I'm going to check. You know I'm going to check, don't you? I'm checking.
Check right now.
Yeah, man.
Still following me.
Johnny, we were talking about Benn Eubank and it hinging on this hydration agreement. Just tell us, as a boxer, how difficult that situation is.
It's a very difficult situation. Number one, I don't believe Eubank can fight safely, comfortably under 160 now. That's my personal opinion. So if they've dropped a clause in where he's got to be, you can't put a certain amount on. I'm telling you now, I'd be very surprised if this signed, sealed, and delivered. This will be a massive stumbling block because Conor's not a big welter. And Chris is he's a big guy at the weight. So the weight is the major issue. This is the weight is the argument for everybody to say, well, it's a gimmick fight. Why are these guys doing it? Iconically, historically, this is a great fight. Iconically, but it's not possible, for this to be a fair fight because they're both very good fighters in their own right. And a loss to Chris would be more damaging to his career than a loss to Conor's career, because Conor can say, you know what, I just took a chance and I went up there. So this is all the marbles are in there, but I just think realistically, how is Chris going to ever make the weight? I just don't see it happening.
Johnny,
I've seen this guy when he's down and he's struggling, not the weight, and he's got in, he looks gone. Now, if you're going to have to drop a bit more off, do not be surprised if, when it comes to it, and say if there's a forfeit, if you come over, there's £1 million fine, he'll say, take it, because I don't believe he could possibly get in there in the required weight division.
Johnny, we was with Chris Eubank Jr. when he boxed Liam Williams back in February, and when he had to make that 160 weight, he did look quite gaunt in the face, and he looked very tight at the weight. Just explain to the listeners, because they'll be sitting there driving their cars or sitting at home in their offices thinking, £4, that's not too much weight to lose. When you're talking about the limit of 160 to 154, explain to our viewers, you was a cruiserweight, so you had to make weight.
Massive.
How difficult that is.
Spencer, I was a big cruiserweight at the time, and you have to get down to 13 stone 8 at the time. I walk around that 18 stone under rest. That's me telling the forky there. But what I'm saying is, when you've got to get down to weight, those few pounds, you've got to be in. Especially in the sort of boxing, it's the only place you can legally get killed. Now, if you aren't there and you're not on point, Spenny, look what happened to you in your career. Mm-hmm. We've seen historically when guys go in there and they're not physically in the right condition, it actually drains you. I've been at times when I've done the weight and I've got there. So I saw the weigh-in. If I box 3 times a year, the only time I saw 13.8 was that 5 minutes when it came to boxing. And one time I can remember weighing in, and afterwards I was babbling. I did the weight wrong. And Dominic and Brendan went mad with me because I cut a little bit. But you know what? It was dangerous for me to do that, and I managed to get away with it. You're getting in with
what are you doing in these circumstances to get down the weight? What do they do to ensure to hit the weight just in time?
Okay, then. So one, you've got to diet right. You've got to do it right over a gradual process. And if you get your calculations wrong, and I know this is wrong to do, you see guys getting in a hot bath. You see guys going for a run before the weigh-in. You see guys, with all the sweat gear, and I've seen it in the hotels when we've got these big fights, and I know it's wrong. It is wrong to do, and it's dangerous. Everybody say you can't do that, but what can you do about it? There's no law against it, and you know it's wrong, and guys get down to the weight. But if you can only put a certain amount on after you've boiled yourself down to that weight, you cannot do it correctly. I know when we did it, you're starving, you're thirsty. The first thing you want to do, you want to eat. We have to drink at least 3 litres of water before we put any food in our body. And if you did it wrong, that's when the day after you suffer the consequences because you got to rehydrate your body correctly. Now in fluid alone, you know, he's going to go over that limit. So I don't know how he's realistically going to do it. I just can't see it.
So
Yeah,
do
almost.
you see? Sorry, Addy. Do you see this rehydration clause as like, you know, they're talking about? Oh, we're nearly there now. We've just got this little issue of the rehydration clause. It's actually a massive stumbling block, Johnny. It's something that could stop the fight.
Issue. It's a big issue. It's a big issue. Conor's not an idiot, and Chris is. They're not foolish. They've got to try and negotiate this that benefits them both. And Conor will say, you know what, I'm going to do this, but you've got to do this, mate. So even if you disagree, coming to the time of the weigh-in, do not be surprised if he paid the forfeit and say, you know what, I can't do it. We've sold tickets, we've built it up, blah, blah, blah. This fight is not going to get pulled. I can't do it. Here's £1 million fine. Whatever the fine is, do not be surprised if that is the case.
Obviously, the reason this is such a big deal is because of the rivalry between their two dads back in the 1990s. What advice do you think they'll be passing on to their sons?
Well, Chris and Nigel's not going to like this. He's not going to like this at all. But Chris has always had the ability to get under Nigel's skin, and this will be these guys living vicariously through their sons. Now, Chris will make out, I don't want my son to do this because my son is beyond it, blah blah blah, and that will whine and infuriate Nigel. Nigel will then pass on to his son. Listen, son, you get in there, you can blah 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 blah. Because Nigel's an emotional character, and so therefore he worked with his heart on his sleeve instead of using common sense, saying, "Listen, son, I know you can fight, but common sense tells you this." No. And Nigel will work from heart. Chris will work from cunning, and that will transfer into this fight what they say to his son. Because there's no way in a million years these guys are not going to have any influence on what they say to their sons in the ability to fight, because this is their legacy. This is a part of the reason why this fight is so intriguing, so exciting, because of their fathers.
Nigel will be going, go on, son, have it. Knock him out. Get in there and just have it, son. Whereas Chris will be taking a different approach, won't he? Chris will be, very philosophical about the whole thing.
I think there's a part of Nigel that would probably say he doesn't want Conor to take this fight, if I'm honest with you.
I know. I think he's been quite vocal on social media saying, mate, I want this to get, I think Nigel...
But the thing... Yeah, but boys, this is what Chris is saying. Chris is already saying this. Don't take this fight. This is mind games, man. This is mind games because straight away, Nigel be thinking, what you mean don't take this fight disrespecting my fight? You what? Trying to get in there and all of a sudden it started. Gameplay start long time before you get in the ring. And this is a conversation I had, it's a conversation we'll go into later. This is a conversation I had about Anthony Joshua and Usyk. Gameplay starts a long time before you get in the ring, because you've got to try and get into the mind of your opponent to make him not even think straight, work from emotion, or make him feel uncomfortable. And Chris has already done that. He's just boom, first blood, and he's thought you probably chuck him through some thought. Nice move. You keep doing your thing, son, and I'll keep doing mine.